hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 2.5 hours, a little bit shorter this afternoon. Ole Miss baseball, they're in action tonight in a conference series against Florida. A little different this week, obviously with Easter on Sunday, so everybody moving their series up a little bit. So they'll go tonight at 5:30 against Florida, tomorrow at 5:30 against Florida, and then Saturday, 6 o'clock against the Gators. So we will not carry pregame for that game tonight, but we will get you out there for first pitch right there around 5:30. So a little bit of a shorter show for us this afternoon, but tons to discuss as we get closer and closer to the Final Four. Also, Tiger news everywhere today as two more players are entering the transfer portal and a general manager has officially been hired for Penny Hardaway's team. We'll talk a lot of college basketball. We'll talk NBA. The Grizzlies, they were in action last night against the Knicks. We'll talk other news and notes around the NBA, some baseball as well. A lot to discuss. But, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well, and you're right. Ole Miss tonight, they are in the shadows of the swamp, really just right down the street from the fabled swamp. And after being swept last weekend by Mississippi State on the road at Florida, and Arkansas after being swept last weekend at home, they are on the road at Auburn. And a lot of fans of both teams really after the head coaches, Mike Bianco and Dave Van Horn. I would just warn you, both sides, Razorbacks and Rebels, you don't know what that next guy is going to be like. You may be tired of the one that's been doing it for a long, long time. And really, in Dave Van Horn's case, it was just a continuum of Norm DeBryan. That goes back to 1972.
Wow.
Do you want to break that compact? Now, I know they're very aggravated at No Dog Pile in Omaha. Ole Miss had one. Are you sure the next guy delivers that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and it's certainly not easy in the SEC. And when you kind of struggle, and then you look up and you see who's next on the schedule, it's never very easy. So it'll be tough this weekend for both those teams.
Now, in both cases, neither one of them are going to be there 10 more years at either place. At some point, there's going to be a different baseball coach at Arkansas and Ole Miss. Yeah. But to kind of chase them out of town, I'd slow down on that for both sides.
No, I'm definitely with you on that. So it'll definitely be interesting to keep up with those series this weekend as everything a little different with Easter and teams trying to get out of the way for Sunday. But here locally, the big news today just broke about an hour or 2 hours ago that Memphis basketball, after everyone's been wondering when would they hire a general manager, they made it official a little after 1 o'clock. Gabriel Harris is going to be the team's new general manager. He's been the general manager of the Stockton Kings, the Sacramento Kings affiliate in the G League for the last 2 years. So the addition coming from the NBA G League level, and now he'll join Memphis. And with a couple days before the transfer portal opens, he'll have a lot of work ahead of him to put together a roster for next season. But I think a nice hire for Memphis.
I do too. I was a little surprised in the resume it wasn't more college recruiting oriented. I don't know except knowing and eyeballing talent. I don't know the natural nexus from running a G League to this, but the biography, the resume, very impressive. MIT.
Yeah, no, that's good. And Stanford as well. So I mean, those are pretty two pretty good institutions.
We load those two up.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding. I mean, I think you look at his resume, and it felt like talking with Jason Munns and kind of asking him about it when he was joining us a couple weeks ago, and obviously Greg Gaston will join us here in a little bit, and when he's joined us, it always kind of felt like the idea was to go out there and get somebody that had been working in the NBA and the NBA G League, somewhere around that. But you look at his resume with the Stockton Kings, you look at kind of what the G League is, it really is kind of putting together a roster each and every year. I mean, you really don't know what that roster is going to look like year over year, and even in the season with guys getting called up and in different things and getting opportunities in the NBA. So I do like that aspect of it. It really does feel like he's had to, over these last couple of years, go out there and put together rosters for back-to-back seasons. Last year got to the G League championship. Their team right now still playing in the G League semifinals. And then you look at what he did before that with Adidas and being a part of that grassroots circuit. So he's been out there around the grassroots scene, so it seems like he has a pretty good handle on that. Obviously, we know the game is shifting more to transfer portal and things like that, but I'm sure he's pretty familiar with a lot of these guys and kind of how this new age of athlete and players operate. So I think it seems like a pretty young guy, so I think a really nice addition to this roster.
Brian, that's a great point you make about roster composition and building one at the G League level. Now, the two or three bigger pieces are handed to him vis-a-vis the draft, the general manager, the franchise, but then the bulk of it, he's got to do it. Here, let's be straight. Mm-hmm. Penny Hardaway is going to have the two or three biggest pieces. Yeah. And he should. He is the head coach. Mm-hmm. If this was an organizational flowchart, he is still at the top of the basketball operations. Mm-hmm. Then Gabriel Harris may very well be too. Ultimately in the department, Dr. Scott is. But in the basketball offices, it's Penny Hardaway's team. Mm-hmm. It's his reputation on the line. It's him out there having to do it. So he's going to have kind of, I would say, the voice for the first two or three or four pieces, and then let's fill in. And I know during the last 2 weeks, while we've all been anxious to see and hear a name, I know I said this during it. Are we sure that somebody that they hadn't already identified them and they might be doing some back channel ancillary stuff? And there are some indications out there in reporting that may very well be the case. And he the first question, if he has a media availability, I don't know that he should. I think the head coach should be the one that speaks for the program, mm-hmm. and the AD for the department. I don't know that he should, but I want one. I always want more questions, mm-hmm. And I think you're better served. The public's better served when there's more questions. But the first one will be to him. Did you have any hand in what was left over? Mm-hmm. Because now today, news that another player is moving on.
Yeah, and it's a good question. I think it's a good point about what was he doing behind the scenes, because Jason Munns pointed out that I think he said he got wind that this was going to be the hire around March 25th, and that he had kind of been told that there was work being done behind the scenes, and kind of he was already kind of playing a role in different things and kind of getting started already before it was officially announced. So it's a good question, and something you pointed out there that I do think is important. And I do want to point out of that at the G League level, a lot of all the teams have two-way guys, and those guys are handed directly down to from that NBA affiliate. But you look at this Kings team, and I don't have enough time to pull it up right this second. They've won, 18 games this year? I'm pretty sure all of their two-way guys have been called up for at least the max they can be called up, and maybe even signed. I know Dylan Cardwell, who was a two-way guy, he has gotten a standard contract, I think. So, how much has he been able to even use those guys? I think this Stockton Kings team, yeah. And so, the success, and obviously, I mean, that's a great point too, Brett. The hustle, we're not very good this year, and they didn't have their two-way guys much of the year. The Stockton Kings likely didn't have their two-way guys much of the season.
They were in Sacktown.
Exactly, and that Stockton team is still playing in the playoffs and in the West semifinal. So it seems like he has a pretty good gauge of putting a roster together. So really like that. But you mentioned the transfer portal, and we continue to get news. The little news last night, I think a lot of people anticipated it, a rope entering the transfer portal. But then earlier today, the news coming out that Quante Berry is set to enter the transfer portal once that opens on Tuesday. So now that means of those 8 guys, we know at least currently the answer for 6 of them. Julius Sedford, William Wharton set to be back for next season. Ashton Hardaway, Curtis Givens, Arope, Quante Berry set to enter the portal. That means 2 that we are still not clear on. It's the 2 big men, Aaron Bradshaw and Simon Majok, still waiting on word for both of those guys.
And Brian, I'm so glad, and you sure didn't do it, but I'm so glad that I don't have to change what I said a few weeks ago when we were going over who you would keep. Mm-hmm. And I would say, don't let the door hit you. Mm-hmm. I can go 13 and 19 without you. Well, now they're keeping very few of those.
Yeah, no.
And we'll see about the rest of them, but good luck.
Yeah, and I think you.
But I don't think they need to be trashed on the way out.
No, definitely not.
I did it. If it was trashing, I did it before they head on.
Sure.
There's the door.
Yeah, and you look at the response you've gotten from a lot of these guys. Obviously, 4 of the 8 already saying that they're going to enter the transfer portal. We knew that, and Penny Hardaway said that he had those conversations with those guys and kind of laid out what that role was going to be. And it seemed that we were kind of asking that question when he said that what were those conversations like? What was he telling these players? Because I think you can look at previous rosters and previous guys that were brought in, and at least lead to the idea of Penny Hardaway has previously maybe overpromised to some guys of what their role would be here. But I think you look at this and, it seems like he kind of told them what it was going to be, and maybe they were not happy about that. Now, there are some rumors going around that Quante Berry was leaning towards staying, and then maybe had some other teams reach out to him and maybe thought it might be a little better to go and enter the transfer portal. But yeah, right now 2 guys, and we'll see about these other 2, what they end up doing. So, I mean, right now, max, you're going into the portal with a pretty good idea that max 4 guys come back to next season's team, which I like that you at least have 2. Would be completely fine if you get one more of those 2 remaining to return, kind of have that framework, and then go out and try to put together a team through the transfer portal.
And everybody's going to be doing it over the next month. This very critical time, and it was time to get somebody announced in that position, and now we know it.
Yeah, and obviously, seems like with his current job, it seemed like it was more of a waiting game with kind of everything we're learning. Again, Jason Munn's reporting that he was told about that this guy was going to be the hire back in late March 25th. So it sounds like it's kind of, hey, let's just wait until we're done here, and then the playoffs kept going and they kept winning, and it's like, hey, the transfer portal opens on Tuesday. We need to announce something, and so kind of found the right time to announce that. So I would assume he's been doing some work. I don't know how much of a hand he played in kind of getting with Penny Hardaway and talking about the roles for some of these guys that were already on the team. But I would say he's probably already started his homework for guys to target in the transfer portal. And only a couple days until that officially opens, and we'll kind of see what it looks like for Memphis, and we'll see what it looks like for these players that are set to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah, we will. Last night the Grizzlies they lose again and to the Knicks, and it just. We're counting down the days, aren't we?
Yeah.
Make it in.
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting until the end of the season, and it was a weird game because you look up and the Knicks score a bazillion points, it felt like, in the first half. The Grizzlies only had 6 rebounds total in the first half, and then the Knicks put it in full cruise control in that second half, and the Grizzlies fought back a little bit, made it at least a little more respectable in the final score. Covered the spread, if anybody was curious about that. They did cover, so I guess a win there for Grizzlies bettors, but we're counting the days down.
There was another spread last night. You were surprised at the margin that Golden State was the underdog at home.
Yeah.
What was that spread you talked about yesterday?
15.5.
What did that game fall on?
It fell on either 14 or 15. It was right there on the number. It was. And I
saw that and I thought, really good.
Yeah, the Spurs.
Vegas again.
They know exactly what they're doing. Spurs led in that game by like 20 with 2 minutes left, and then took out everybody and the Warriors, who, I mean, I really can't talk with obviously being here with the Grizzlies, but that Warriors team, I mean, they just don't have anybody out there playing for them. And they had some guys on 2 ways, 10 days, different things like that, who wanted to prove that they could maybe make a splash, and they knocked down some shots at the end of that game to cover that spread. But yeah, weird game for the Grizzlies. And then the news today, more news coming out today about Brandon Clark and his situation. It sounds like was exceeding 100 miles an hour driving over in Arkansas, which led, I believe, to the initial getting pulled over and then ultimately being taken to the jailhouse yesterday. So
I've seen a common Twitter thread, and I know it goes back to the Tony Allen case. I know most of it is probably in jest of Grizzlies players stay out of Arkansas. Well, it's not stay out of Arkansas. If you're in Arkansas, don't be going 100.
Well, no kidding. No matter where you're at, don't be going 100.
Hauling around a bag of dope.
Yeah. Well, and it seems I think it was maybe the Daily Memphian maybe that had the story that I don't know exactly what he had on him, but whatever it is, it's legal in Tennessee but illegal in Arkansas. It's some sort of a pill or something like that, and not legal in Arkansas. So interesting stuff there that led to Brandon Clark's arrest yesterday. But we'll talk more.
I'm in good shape on both. I'm not going to drive 100, and I'm not going to have any pills.
Well, I will say this, and I was.
And I drive in Arkansas a lot.
Well, and Brett, I just want to let you know this that I was told, I was tipped off this morning that somebody. Not going to name names, but maybe a 3-letter name that hosts a morning show on the station, said that you should be the bag man for Brandon Clark, because you're over there and you come over to Memphis very often, so you could just be his guy.
I don't really want to be the runner. I know that's not my role.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm too old to go to jail.
Well, that is and other reasons, not just your age. I think there's a lot of reasons why you don't want to be the runner for Brandon Clark. But we'll talk more Grizzlies and the NBA a little bit later in today's show. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, David Brandt from the Associated Press in Phoenix. He's going to join us, and we'll talk Arizona in the Final Four, that big matchup between the Wildcats and Michigan. Talk about the season as a whole for Arizona, that matchup against Michigan. Might get to a couple other Arizona things while we're talking with him, as the Diamondbacks, they've got their season underway. The Phoenix Suns, we've talked a lot about them this season, so we'll talk a lot of Arizona sports with David Brandt in our next segment. 3:45, we'll talk more about the Grizzlies and the NBA, as it was a loss for the Grizzlies in a weird game against the Knicks, but there were some other weird things around the NBA last night, including that Spurs and Warriors matchup. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He'll join us. We'll talk more NBA with Keith as we start to wind down the season, the regular season, at least in the NBA. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. It's a very light day today around Major League Baseball. Only 3 games, 1 already underway, the other 2 later tonight, as everybody traveling. A lot of day games tomorrow, as it's kind of second opening day for all of those teams that were on the road the first week. They'll have their opening day, their home opener tomorrow. So a lot of
the Rays back to the Trop.
How about that? That will be a scene, to say the least, over the weekend. But good luck to him. Good luck to him. That's all I can.
Maybe it'll work out this time.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. But we'll talk baseball at 4:30. 4:45, we'll talk about, it will be time for big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston. He'll join us, talk Tigers, and obviously a lot to discuss when it comes to Tigers. There'll be a lot of basketball with all the hires to the staff, including today's news on the general manager and guys entering the transfer portal. We'll get all that with Greg Gaston. We'll get out a little early with Greg because at about 5:20 or so, we'll get to an early Moe's Crunch Time. That's because we're out early today. Ole Miss baseball in action on the road against Florida. We'll have that first pitch at 5:30. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The Floor Model Spa Sale. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. It's time to make room. Deep discounts on over 100 display models and in stock hot tubs, swim spas, and cold plunges. Been dreaming about a new spa? Well, now is the time to buy. Spas as low as $99 a month with over $1,000 in free upgrades with every spa purchased. $8,000 spas, only $159 a month with free LED lights and a waterfall available on most models. So head out there to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sports Time. We're live and local and with you until 5:30 when Ole Miss baseball has first pitch against Florida. He's Bryant I'm Brett. Our producer is Landon Schmidt, and we want you to join us at 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will join us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always from our Family Leisure Studios in this hour, every day brought to you by the great people at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2026 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and that's where you can put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2026 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it is the Tiger basketball news that we have learned over the day. It really started yesterday when the news came out that Arope is planning on entering the transfer portal. Not a big surprise there. Didn't see much of any playing time throughout the season, really just at the end of games in blowout situations. Penny Hardaway would throw him out there, so that wasn't a surprise. Maybe a little bit more of a surprise, though, was the news earlier today that Quante Berry is set to enter the transfer portal. A guy that, his role fluctuated throughout the season, but was really a guy that came off the bench for the Tigers. Kind of a roller coaster of a season. I know had a really nice first game for Memphis, but then throughout the season struggled, would have really nice games here and there. I think the idea of bringing back a guy with a lot of experience would have been nice, and certainly a guy that could be a leader in that locker room, but he is planning now to enter the transfer portal. And then earlier this afternoon, around 1 o'clock or so, it became official that Memphis does in fact have their general manager. It is Gabriel Harris, who for the last 2 seasons has served as the general manager for the Stockton Kings. That's the G League affiliate for the Sacramento Kings. We talked about it earlier in this first segment about, for me at least, I think I like the idea of a guy at the G League level where you see so much roster change and roster overhaul, and you're trying to learn who a lot of these guys are and see, how can they fit with what you want to do for your roster, while also kind of thinking about, hey, what are our parent team going to do? What is the Kings going to do? Are they going to come down and get these two-way guys? How is this roster going to look not only on day one of the season, but on the last day of the season, to now bring a guy like that into this wild world of college basketball where every year you're basically replacing an entire roster? I think a solid move. Brett, you mentioned where he went to school at Stanford, at MIT, so obviously a brilliant guy, a very smart individual, and I think a really solid hire for Penny Hardaway in this basketball program.
That is very impressive. And at Stanford, for sports, anything, you got to get it.
Yeah.
And every degree plan is very difficult. There's no gimmies there. That's impressive. MIT, I don't think anybody's ever accused them of just passing anybody through. So that is a stellar academic background. My top story, here comes the Spurs in Wemby. Not so fast on back-to-back for Oklahoma City to win it all, and not so fast on SGA MVP B2B. See what I did there?
A lot of letters.
I would rather watch Wemby. It's a more diversified game instead of always kind of bobbing and weaving and playing for the free throw game. I would always like to watch the big over that.
Yeah, Wemby
the big that can do that as well.
Yeah, I was about to say he can do it all, and he has been super impressive for the San Antonio. He had his, I don't know if it was his season high or his career high. It could have been both. Last night he had 41 points with like 6 minutes left in the game. Like, could have very easily blown through that, but then they took him out of the game because they were up by 25 points, and he ultimately didn't get out. He's been incredible all season long.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it is the NBA, as a lot of teams only have a handful of games remaining in the regular season. We're starting to see the playoffs take shape. We know the Grizzlies will not be a part of any playoff as they lose again last night, 25-51 on the season. Now, we talked about it yesterday, kind of a win-win for everybody involved. The Grizzlies lose. The Knicks, who needed a win, they go out there and get a win. But looking around and looking at what's happening at a lot of other places. I know we've talked about it a lot over the last week or so, as we've seen this Orlando Magic team start to fall apart. And last night they were in action against this Atlanta Hawks team that has been on fire, and it really wasn't even a game. 130-101 the final score as the Hawks beat the Magic again. That drops the Magic to 40-36 on the season. If you go to your handy tankathon, which I know everybody has bookmarked right now, that Orlando Magic pick back in the lottery heading to Memphis. So I don't know what the rest of the season looks like for the Magic. You look at these remaining games for them, it's not very easy, but it could be a lot harder. You've got at Dallas, at New Orleans, but then you've got versus Detroit, versus Minnesota, and then the final game of the season at Boston. I don't know what Boston will be throwing out there on the last game of the season. Probably not much, but you take another loss or two with the Orlando Magic, that could certainly be another lottery pick for the Memphis Grizzlies. At this point of the season, I think that's what all the Grizzly fans are watching more than the actual Grizzlies on the court.
At the Brent text line, it says, the city of Memphis, we have to have the most academically qualified GMs in the country.
I love it.
With Zach Kleiman, undergrad USC, Duke Law School, and now Gabriel Harris. We need to take everybody on taking the SAT, don't we?
I mean, no kidding. I mean, I don't want to see those guys in a classroom.
Always good to have smart people around. I like that. Might not top story. Everyone agrees that Fernando Mendoza will and should go number one to the Las Vegas Raiders. I want it to work. I want the Raiders back. They've never been my team, but I like the idea of the Raiders. I hope he is a big star. You know how many 300-yard passing games he had last year?
I don't know.
One.
Oh, wow.
He only went over 250 yards 4 times all last year. He racked up 41 touchdowns. Now, 15 of those, 5 in each game against Indiana State, Illinois, and in the college football playoff against Oregon. Slow down on he's going to be some transformative franchise figure.
Sure. No, I definitely am with you there, but he certainly in this draft is, I think, the clear number one quarterback option. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. When we return, we're heading out to Phoenix. David Brandt, he's with the Associated Press out there in Phoenix. We'll talk Arizona as they're in the Final Four. They'll have a matchup against Michigan. We'll talk about their season and this matchup against the Wolverines. We do that next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's golf time. What's my first thought? Miramichi. Of course, Miramichi. Sometimes you need just to escape the hustle and bustle of life, and that's exactly what Miramichi will provide. It means the place of happy retreat, and I promise you, it lives up to its name. While it might not be in the heart of Shelby County, it's certainly worth the drive. It's 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. Once you arrive at the front door, you know you're going to get an experience unlike any other public golf course in town. Let's start with practice facilities. Not all are created equal, and you will find none better than those at Miramichi. The range is an impressive 12-acre space. It allows you to spread out and practice for those long drives. They got a great short game place. They've got a chipping green. They've got a putting green. They're beyond compare. You want to get better? You go to Miramichi. You want a great competitive golf course? You go to Miramichi. It's worth the drive. I love it. Miramichi.
Hi, it's the Herd. Men over 40, this matters. If you're putting in the same effort but getting less back from your body, less energy, slower metabolism, weight that won't move, that's not a discipline problem, it's biology. After 40, effort and outcomes start to drift apart. The same habits don't deliver the same return. Most men just push harder. More caffeine, more restriction, more willpower. But willpower isn't the issue. Support is. That's why I like M-Drive Boost and Burn. Built specifically for guys over 40. Steady energy and metabolism support without extremes and designed for real life. M-Drive Boost and Burn is now the #1 men's health supplement at Sprouts, and Sprouts is one of the strictest specialty retailers in the entire country. So if you're over 40, don't ignore what your body's telling you. Go to mdriveformen.com and use the code HERD, H-E-R-D, for 20% off your first purchase. M-Drive for men who still show up.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. like a warm knife through firm butter, going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue. We're cooking it up, down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like the good old days.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Memphians have trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years because we make it easy for you and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or a crowd of thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next party.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of EMS calls in the last 15, 20 minutes. Already starting to pick up around that 101 connector there on I-40 as you come past Watkins. As traffic cranks up to the south, watch for radar now through there this afternoon. It's been on and off since lunchtime today. Actually, they're on 55, not only through South Haven, but pushing on down into parts of DeSoto County. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having transmission problems, come to AMCO Transmissions here in Memphis with 2 locations. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we've got to talk the Final Four. And joining us now to talk the Arizona side of things, David Brandt from the Associated Press in Phoenix. He joins us now. David, thanks so much for joining us. This Arizona team has been a lot of fun to watch under Tommy Lloyd. And I mean, you look at the way the season played out for them. It's insane. They go on this massive win streak to start the season. They lose back-to-back games at the start of February, and they haven't lost since. They have the nation's longest active winning streak with 13 wins. What has the season been like following this Arizona team?
Oh, it's been incredible down in Tucson. This is one of those teams, Tommy Lloyd has had some good ones the past 5 or 6 years since he came over after being an assistant at Gonzaga, but this might be his most complete team. And, the Big 12 was a great conference, had all those great teams like Texas Tech, like Kansas, like BYU, and they kind of went through a murderer's row there in February like you talked about, and they lost back-to-back games and then got back right back on track. So it's a team that stayed pretty healthy. It's a big, strong, physical team that has really been as consistent as anybody in the country. So, I think this matchup against Michigan is truly, two big boys going against each other.
It is the real big boys. Everybody thinking the winner of this will win it all. Do you think that?
Yeah, I think that would be the more obvious choice. I think, anytime, just with what UConn has done the last couple of years, it's hard to completely bet against them, and Illinois has got a good team too. But I'm sure Arizona or Michigan would be favored against either team coming out. And I do think those are the 2 best teams left in the country.
David, I was still kind of caught up in the college football monster. I swear some of the first end-to-end college basketball games I watched were those 2 games that Arizona dropped that Bryant mentioned. And I watched those 2, and I go, kind of frankly, David, what I said is kind of the same old Arizona. But they're not, are they? This is not the same old Arizona.
No, I think they've proven it. I think everybody had the same reaction that you had because it's kind of been a weird situation. Tommy Lloyd has won a ton of games in Tucson, but really no one really cared. I don't want to say cared, but nothing really mattered that much until they got to the NCAA tournament. It was sort of Final Four or bust. And so I think that a little bit of a weight has been lifted off the team's shoulders just getting to the Final Four. So it's a team that really doesn't have a ton of weaknesses. It's a really strong team, a really big team, great defensive team. The one thing I think that they would have a problem with, they don't want to get into a three-point shooting contest. They shoot a decent percentage, but they just, this is a team that loves to drive into the paint with Jaden Bradley, Ivan Karchenkov. They've got really good guard play, get into the lane, be physical, meet you at the basket, and win one-on-ones at the rim. And that's what they want to do. And so far they've done it to just about everybody they've wanted to.
Yeah, you point out the lack of three-point shooting. It is kind of crazy. It's become a massive storyline for this Arizona team. I mean, right now in KenPom, 36th in the country in three-point percentage, but 361st in three-point distribution. So, I mean, they just don't shoot a lot of threes, but you mentioned how they love to drive to the basket, and a lot of that has been with the freshman Koa Pete. Talk about his game and kind of what you've seen throughout the season, because he came in, highly touted recruit, had some really nice games start the season. He hit as much as you could call a little bit of a lull because he was still putting up good numbers, but people maybe questioned if he was a one-and-done type guy, but now is back to just really dominating out there. What have you seen from him this season?
Yeah, he's a real popular guy around here, a local kid from the Phoenix area. So he's, people have kind of watched him grow up and become the player that he's become. So, he, obviously a young kid, and for being so young, a freshman, he's physically very strong, and he, not really a shooter, but can get to the basket, an array of, just plays like a guy who seems like a fifth-year senior. He's got a decent mid-range game, just really got a nose for the ball, for the basket, plays good defense, just kind of beyond his years as far as his poise in big games. And you're right, he did hit a little bit of a freshman wall in February, but it seems like he's bounced back and looks like he's ready to go for the Final Four.
Is the coaching conversation, Tommy Lloyd addressed that today, is that a bigger story or as big as being in the Final Four to the U of A fans?
I mean, it's out there, obviously, and it's certainly, I think, something they're concerned about, but I don't think it's overshadowed anything. I think, the focus is on the Final Four and the games, and I think that, Arizona should feel, I have no idea what's going to happen, by the way, but Arizona has put itself into position where I think they'll be okay no matter who's coaching.
Mm-hmm. And Arizona, David, would you describe it first as a basketball school, football or basketball?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a basketball school dating back to, Lute Olson in the 90s with Miles Simon and all that stuff. They draw great. Tucson's a cool town, and it's, really University of Arizona athletics is the only game in town. And certainly, football's been good at times, and it's kind of up and down. They had Nick Foles there several years ago, and they've had it rolling occasionally, but, consistently the basketball is what drives attendance there. And they invest the NIL, the arena's great. It's just what, from a sports perspective, Tucson is known for. So, I mean, it's a big deal in Tucson.
And look at this grouping, this Final Four. 3 of the 4, if you had to describe football school or basketball school, 3 of the 4 are distinctly basketball schools.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think that, in the age of NIL, it's always been kind of like this. Schools have always chosen where they want to invest their money, where they want to invest their coaches. But you're seeing, with UConn, with Arizona, with Illinois, with Michigan. Michigan obviously has great football too, and Illinois is not bad. But these are programs that are spending money in basketball, and that matters. At Arizona, like I said, it being a big deal, like it is a focal point. It's not an afterthought like some of the teams in the SEC and stuff like that. So, I mean, I guess simply put, you kind of get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. And I don't think that is the major reason, because Florida just won it last year, and there's plenty invested in basketball. But, Brian, who was the one maybe it was Florida that I asked if they went back-to-back, would they trade both of those for one football, and we all agreed, heck yeah. Was it Florida?
I think it was Florida, yeah.
Might even been Alabama, but it's still, and David, you know it from all your years here, baseball is not that far behind basketball in priority.
No,
for
especially
SEC.
at certain schools. Yeah, I mean, certainly at like LSU, at Mississippi State, at Ole Miss, those schools. Tennessee has obviously gotten it rolling over the past couple of years. Vanderbilt, it's a big deal. South Carolina, it's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, you kind of go down the list, and I mean, it's close, but I think in some respects you could say that baseball has an upper hand at times.
I had a clumsy way of getting there, but I'm trying to get to the point of it's hard to be an every sports school for anyone anymore. Michigan can, though.
Right, exactly. I mean, you've got to have a really big budget. Some of those, a school that you think of in the past, like Stanford used to be pretty good at just about everything. They were,
Sure
might
did.
not have been winning a ton of national championships, but they were always Final Four, Elite Eight, and in baseball and in basketball. They always had a competitive football team, and I think that, they've kind of fallen off in recent years, and they may get it back, but I think it's just harder, like you said, to be good at everything. I mean, there's just only so much money to go around that, I think certain programs are investing money, kind of choosing where they want to be good, and it's just hard to be that athletic program that spreads it between, because Florida is actually a school that would be up there too. They have a lot of different programs. It's just, there's only so much money to go around.
Mm-hmm. No, it absolutely is. We're talking to David Brandt. He joins us from the Associated Press in Phoenix, talking Arizona in the Final Four. And I feel like one of the storylines that's kind of been overshadowed with the Final Four, but really kind of been overshadowed because of the season. The freshmen and the young guys have really dominated the sport, but it's these veteran guys that have played vital roles. And you look at all four of these teams and the veteran presence that they have there. You look at Michigan, and this team is just, mainly all veterans that they brought in the transfer portal. Alex Karaban, a couple other guys over at UConn, Kylan Boswell and Stojakovic at Illinois. But Jaden Bradley at Arizona, a guy that transfers in after his freshman season at Alabama, doesn't make a single start his sophomore year, and now has turned into Big 12 Player of the Year and a huge, vital part of this Arizona team. What has this season been like for him, and really seeing that development and his commitment to Arizona?
Well, he's just rock solid, and he's exactly what you need. He's great at getting into the lane. He's a decent shooter, but the three-point game really isn't, what he does. I mean, he's a true floor general, settles the team down, hits big shots, distributes, not a flashy passer, but can really distribute, and just has a knack and a nose for the big game, and is really a calming influence for Braden Burries, for Koa Pete, for Ivan Karchenkov, for all those different freshmen. So, he's just, I really do think in college basketball these days, if you can get a guy or two who has been with your program for 3 or 4 years, who kind of, harkens back to those days of, the Bobby Hurleys of the world and the Jay Williams, guys that seemed like they were at a program forever. I mean, that's a superpower now in college basketball, with guys moving around all the time and stuff like that. So I think Jaden Bradley knows exactly how to play the way Tommy Lloyd wants him to. I think those two have a great relationship, and I think it's one of the big reasons Arizona has been consistently so good this year.
David, I saw the Phoenix Suns Monday night when they were here, and Devin Booker, he never disappoints. He had 36 and wasn't even breathing hard. He really got it easily. And the news in the last few days of Tom Izzo saying that he was offered that job by Matt Ishbia, who played for him on his 2000 national championship team. Matt Ishbia was a role player, bench player, walk-on type. They really have transformed the front office in Phoenix to West Lansing, haven't they?
They have kind of, and that was not, people were not happy about that for a while. With Brian Gregory, that was kind of an outside the box pick. He's a longtime college coach. But, after the year they're having now, they're 42 and 33. I think they've been much better than expected. I think people are getting on the bandwagon a little bit, that, maybe Matt Ishbia at least somewhat knew what he was doing. And so, the Brian Gregory hire has been good. Jordan Ott had a few Michigan State ties. He was a video coordinator under Izzo way back in the day. But, they've made a lot of good decisions, and I think that people are much more – there's much more love for Sparty in the Valley of the Sun these days than there was about 6 months ago. So it's worked out pretty well.
Well,
the video coordinator today is the head coach in 2035, isn't he?
Exactly. Those are those guys that are dissecting film for, hours on end in dark rooms at 2 a.m. Those are the guys that in 2045, 2040 will be interviewing someday as head coach.
Mm-hmm. David, it was great seeing you out at the Fiesta Bowl. Did you think you'd ever be covering Ole Miss in a Fiesta Bowl?
Oh, that was a wild moment. That was so much fun.
It was fun,
and what a game. Yeah,
Great game.
I mean, it was just such a cool, obviously Ole Miss didn't win. Miami deserved to win that one. They played well, but Ole Miss made it fun at the end, and just seeing that fan base, for so long, obviously kind of an also-ran in the SEC, and obviously they've come up in the last 10 or 15 years, but, to see Ole Miss with the big boys again, on the national stage, performing well. It was just a big moment for that program. So hopefully they can sustain it. You talk about, spending money and putting money in the right places. So Ole Miss has done that with football, and you can see the results.
Yeah.
I knew we'd share a press box again together, David.
No, and hopefully it's not the last time. That's the cool thing about being in Phoenix. Just stuff happens out here. People come out here.
That's
sure
right.
does.
David, before we let you go, I can't let you go before asking about the Diamondbacks. 3-3 to start the season, but 3 straight wins against the Tigers. Looked good against the Dodgers. It was 0-3 against the Dodgers, but I thought played well against them. What have you seen early on with this Diamondbacks team?
Well, I think they are what we thought they would be. They've got a great top of the lineup. Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Geraldo Perdomo. That's a top 3 that I would put against just about anybody in the National League. And then, Zach Gallen outpitched Tariq Skubal the other day, which was a great game, a 1-0 game in Phoenix that I covered. I think it's going to come down to them. Do they have enough pitching? Do they have enough of a bullpen? Obviously it's going to be hard to keep up with the Dodgers. That looks like a team that if they stay healthy is going to win 105 games. I don't think the Diamondbacks are quite on that tier, but I do think if they have good injury luck and, continue to find some pieces in that bullpen to help them get along, and Corbin Burns could come back mid-season from Tommy John surgery. So I think they'll be in the mix, and I think they're going to be a lot of fun. They're a good team to watch.
Yeah, no, they are definitely fun to watch. But David, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll definitely have to do this again soon. All
right, guys. Take care.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David. Be safe. David Brown, our good friend out in Phoenix at the Associated Press desk, and I know Arizona, they got to be thinking this is the time. That is a battle of big teams. This is NBA-sized teams.
No, it really is. I'm excited. I mean, they're both really big. They're both very physical, but they're both extremely athletic. So it's going to be a really fun game.
Let's see if Yaxel really wants to bang for 40 minutes.
No, that will be a good question. It's going to be the test against the young Koa Pete, some of the other bigs that they have over there at Arizona. It's going to be a really fun matchup.
David joined us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the hometown teams like the Tigers and the Grizzlies, and at FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge. That great location at 4542 Poplar. If you're thinking for something for Easter, for any holiday, soon will be Mother's Day. Soon will be graduation, then Father's Day. Don't forget Dad. And we know engagement and wedding season coming up is the perfect place. Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, all those special moments, perfect items, rings, necklaces, earrings, 9,000 square foot store in Laurelwood at Poplar and Perkins with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more since 1970 with all the great locations across the Mid-South. Sissy's, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts, the official jeweler for the Grizzlies, and at FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, we need to get to another break. When we return, we'll talk the NBA, the Grizzlies. They were in action last night against the Knicks, some other interesting games as well. We'll discuss it all next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Whether you're buying, selling, or just want a fast cash offer, call Bubba Sandifer at Emmett Baird Realty at 901-257-9420 or direct at 901-319-0747. Looking to buy? Bubba will help you find that perfect home. Thinking about selling? Don't just stick a sign in your yard and hope for the best. With Bubba Sandifer at Emmett Baird Realty, you get maximum exposure, serious buyers, and real results. Want speed? He'll buy it as is for cash. Want top dollar? He'll list it. Either way, you win. Call Bubba Sandifer at 901-319-0747.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With over 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
A long life is wonderful, but it comes with changes as you age. So when you're ready to change your home, Town Village Audubon Park is the perfect choice. Incredible location, amazing amenities, including a pool, all-inclusive dining, and on-site medical care so you can age in place. Monthly rental with no buy-in lets you make current choices. Apartments include full kitchen, washer and dryer, bi-weekly housekeeping, and all basic utilities. Landscape courtyards make it easy to get sunshine and fresh air. Gated parking keeps you ready to go. And the Town Village Dog Park keeps your fur baby close by your side. Hi, I'm Max. My wife Jean and I moved into Town Village Audubon Park 18 months ago. It's the best decision we ever made. We have made friends here and take part in lots of social activities. It's a comfortable life. So if you're thinking of making a change, come see me and Town Village Audubon Park. I think you'll like it as much as we do. And look, new friends.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Grizzlies, they were in action last night against the New York Knicks, and it was a loss. It was a massive first half for the Knicks, and then seemed like they put it in a little bit of cruise control in that second half. Ultimately, the Grizzlies did battle back. They covered a 13.5-point spread, only losing by 11 points, but it was a Knicks victory, a victory that the Knicks needed, and a Grizzlies loss that the Grizzlies needed. So it worked out for everybody, and, counting down, like you said earlier, Brett, counting down the days and counting down the games for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, yesterday and comments today about LeBron James, maybe not the most flattering day and a half, 2 days for Memphis and for the Grizzlies. The LeBron James comments. First of all, do you know where he made these? Was it today? Or
it was
podcast.
Yeah,
what?
it was a video. He was golfing with some. I don't even know how to describe them, influencers, I guess. And they were just.
That's the conversation they have playing golf.
Yeah, they were just kind of chatting about the NBA and different things, and he said. What he said about Memphis and jokingly said move him to Nashville, whether he was serious or not. I really don't care what LeBron James has to say about
no kidding,
about
Brian.
where franchises
are.
are.
Who cares? And I see some getting really over the top, aggravated over it. Reminds me of around playoff time. Now I know LeBron James is certainly a bigger figure than a sports writer from Los Angeles who came in and had a lot of invective, and I think he was trying to get a rise out of some, and he did. And I think some of the reaction is always a little performative in in the comeback that, we got to defend the 901. I've lived here all my life. Brian, you've lived here all your life, haven't you?
That's right. Yep.
Same for Landon. We're 3 for 3. Mm-hmm. We've all lived here all our lives. I don't care what he says. It means nothing.
No. Well, I think if you just think about it for a minute, I think it's very understandable to kind of connect the dots. The Grizzlies are really struggling, and so when you're thinking of a team that's really bad, that has poor attendance, and you're thinking of a place that, look, let's be honest, Nashville's a hot city right now. People love Nashville. People are moving there. It is a really hot city in the United States, not just in Tennessee, in the entire United States. It's only 3 hours up the road. So it's very easy for LeBron James to just pick a team. Where's a place that I don't love going that could easily move somewhere else? Oh, Memphis. They're right down the road from Nashville. So I don't even think he really thought about it when he said it. And suppose I didn't watch the whole video. I just saw, obviously, the clip that's making its rounds. But
the Grizzlies aren't moving. But
hold on, Brett. Let me finish what I was saying, because I think it is noteworthy to say somebody told me the entire video. He names other cities that he kind of talked bad about. It wasn't just at least what I've been told, it wasn't just a Memphis thing.
Thank you, and I'm sorry. That's good. Now this is one of the reasons. This is the slow encroachment of. It's almost like the moth that's eating up your best cashmere sweater. Mm-hmm. You don't know it's gone until you're ready to put it on and wear it. Sign that lease, and this will stop immediately.
Sure. No,
this will stop immediately.
It will.
Sign the lease.
Yeah, and hopefully, once we get to the offseason, we've talked about that's got to be objective number one for the offseason is get the lease signed. And, at least if you're just taking the word of kind of everybody involved in it, it seems like there's progress being made. I know there was a story the other day that said they're trying to amend some sort of law rule about hotels downtown and kind of change the framework of it. And that seems like a positive thing for a new lease. So, it seems like from what everyone's saying, there's positive movement, and I'm going to at least trust the people that are saying that there is positive movement and that it does look like they're going to sign it. But at the end of the day, people lie all the time. Until we see a lease getting signed, there's always that question. And like you said, the way to get nobody to talk about it anymore is to just get the lease signed.
And some of those could walk down the hall at FedEx Forum and ask Jason Wexler when we sign in the lease.
Exactly. No,
we could put a lot more pressure on him about that. And I wish some of those people that are so repulsed and in defending mode today to make a vow right now that in the off chance, in the one in whatever number it is, if the Grizzlies did leave for Nashville, you don't go with the team there.
Yeah, well,
you stay here.
Yeah, that would
make that vow.
I unfortunately don't think people would be making that vow, which is unfortunate. But hopefully we don't have to worry about that. Hopefully that won't be something in the future. But yes, the big headlines have been what LeBron said on a golf course to a couple of YouTubers. But let's go ahead and wrap up this first hour. And when we return, we're going to talk some more NBA. Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He joins us next on Sports Time.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Go ahead. Just let your car steer itself to either Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar. You know you want to. If it's before 2 o'clock in the afternoon, all you have to do is let yourself surrender to the desire to have some hot, fresh, fast, prepared just for you Sunrise deliciousness. Breakfast, lunch, it doesn't matter. Just head to what you really crave, a little Sunrise. Maybe have a piping hot cup of coffee. Or maybe make yourself a Bloody Mary at the Bloody Mary bar. Just settle in for Sunrise.
A sacred season is approaching for those of the Jewish faith, Passover. This year, many Israeli residents will observe this holiday in darkness under the shadow of war. Across Israel, red alert sirens pierce the air. Families run to shelters with seconds to spare. Elderly men and women fear they'll be left behind, requiring assistance.
Parents comfort frightened children as explosions shake the night. Sleeplessness and uncertainty have become daily life. Passover reminds us that God hears the cries of his people and answers with love and compassion. That's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the ground in Israel right now. They're providing food and emergency supplies, equipping bomb shelters, and caring for the elderly. Vulnerable Israelis need your help today.
Your most generous Passover gift shows you stand with God's people. Support those in need in Israel at a time when it's most needed. To rush your gift, call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ, or give online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SUPREME to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SUPREME for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SUPREME for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, T-Dots. Working with a couple of wrecks already out here this afternoon as it gets a little heavier on Sam Cooper. Certain sections there going outbound. Still moving over here right now. We've checked it on 240 east from Mill Branch out to 385 as you get on to Bill Morris Parkway. It won't be long before Bill Morris starts to pick up, headed out towards the Collierville area. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having any kind of transmission problems, come to Amco Transmissions right now with 2 area Memphis locations. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden, weekdays from 11 to 1. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
And she says, I wish that I could be.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we just got done talking some NBA, but we got to stay on that topic because we got to talk about it more with our guy, Keith Smith.
Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith Smith joins us now to talk all things NBA from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He joins us at this time every single week. Keith, thanks so much for joining us. Tons to discuss as we start to wind down the regular season and get ready for the playoffs. But one of the biggest stories around the league right now is what the Lakers have been doing. They have been rolling over the last week and a half. A big game for them tonight on the road against Oklahoma City. But what have you seen recently from this Lakers team that has them winning all these games and playing extremely well?
Yeah, a handful of things, right? Better health, obviously, is a big part of this. They've got their guys back and ready to go, minus Marcus Smart has been out for the last, I think, 5 or 6 games here. So that part's a little bit tough, but they're playing some defense. I think J.J. Redick has done a really good job working in various zone looks that allow him to kind of protect Luka, protect Austin Reeves, but those two guys have been more committed on that end as well to really locking in and playing some defense. And then you got LeBron still doing his thing and playing really well, which is just remarkable that he's still getting it done. So yeah, I mean, this is a Lakers team that they're trying to put themselves in a position to make a run and make some noise here in the Western Conference.
Keith, are we having an NBA conversation? You mentioned zone.
Hey, they play a lot of zone defense in the NBA now.
I think more should, of course, with the personnel you're handed.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it is. One of the big kind of pioneers of zone defense in the NBA has been Eric Spoelstra. He's come up with a lot of creative zone looks. This, you can't do the old Syracuse 2-3 and just sit your big man in the middle of the paint in front of the rim because that's still defense of 3 seconds. So you have to get a little more creative. You tend to see it be a little bit more of 3 high, 2 low type things. Boston will play. I don't know if I'm sure you do remember, but John Chaney and Temple. He was the pioneer of the matchup zone, where you would play man to man in your zone, but then if the man moved out, you stayed and just guarded your area. You see some teams kind of do that, and Boston likes to do a thing where they'll start out playing zone, and then it used to be Drew Holiday. Now that duty has transitioned to Derek White, they yell out a call, and everybody just picks up the closest man to them, and that kind of can throw teams off a handful of possessions. I think the big thing is you can have different things. You can't lock into one style of defense and hope that's going to win every single night because it probably doesn't work to guard every single team you play.
What do you think the key to a zone is? Your guards or your bigs? Because DeAndre Ayton has made the Lakers, when they do run their zone, very formidable.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think you definitely have to have a big that can still anchor, because the way to beat most zones, even in the NBA, is you get into the teeth of them and you get into the middle of it, and that'll either collapse the zone and you can kick it out for shots, or if they don't collapse, you're going to have a shot inside, and that's where Ayton, his commitment on that end of the floor has been, really good for the Lakers, because then what he's able to do is make some plays where now all of a sudden it's like, all right, hey, we don't have to collapse the whole zone because he's got things covered. So it's probably in the NBA it's the big. I think in college it depends on what kind of zone you're using. Where in college you can use your guards or your high line defenders. Those guys can control a lot of the action that happens within a zone. But it's still the way to beat it is either flood it with a bunch of guys going to one area and that pulls the defense over, or you get into the teeth of it, collapse it, and kick it out. And then, of course, the key is you got to make the shot.
When people go to it in the NBA, do other teams freak out like a lot of teams do in college? Like, well, they're running a zone. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's really funny. The Celtics, when the Heat used to do it to them, it was a mess. And it was to the point where it's like, why does Miami not just play zone every possession? And last night, Celtics played the Heat. The Heat went to a few different zones. And it used to take the Celtics sometimes 3-4 possessions to figure out, they're in this zone defense, and then start to figure it out. Now it's like, get it? All right, they're in a zone, and they know exactly what to do with that. Send a guy to the nail, send a cutter through, send 2 to the low block. Like, they've got all their counters. But it's more if you mix it up and throw it in unexpected. It might throw a team off for a handful of possessions, for sure.
my friend that used to be on this station, did a lot of radio with, the late, great Dana Kirk, he always would say when a team ran a zone, stay in your man-to-man offense, but make sure you got a great high post, big man passing, a big man in the high post. He had Keith Lee.
Yeah, if you can get a big guy at the nail, which if people don't know that term, they probably do, but that's basically right at the middle of the free throw line, right at the line. They call it the nail because in a lot of old gyms, like all the gyms I played in back home in Massachusetts are old. They all had a nail right there that's where you nailed the floorboards together. So that's why they call it that. That's why you would send a guy right there, because that opens kind of everything up for you. And it's for a lot of guys, especially if they're good, like a Jason Tatum or a Jaylen Brown, that's a great shot for them if they get to that spot.
That should be the name of your podcast, The Nail.
Yeah, we'll stick with front office still, but if I relaunch another one, we'll definitely put it in the mix because I do like that name.
When we do one, we'll do it because every free throw person, everybody that helps somebody with free throw shooting, I got a friend of mine that said I can take anybody and get him over that nail, line him up right, and teach him the right way, and can raise the free throw percentage 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, that was my routine. If I still do it today, I do the same thing I've been doing since I was 10 years old. Go to the nail, 2 dribbles, spin the ball, and shoot. Free throw shooting for me is as much about establishing a routine that works for you, that can be just consistent, repeatable, and allows you to block out everything else. Because it should just be you in the hoop at that point.
Absolutely. All right, Keith, 2 weeks remaining in the regular season. This is really the key time when a gambler starts to hone in on their playoff bet. So tell me, who's going to win the Eastern Conference, and why is it the Boston Celtics?
Sorry. That was funny. I do think it's going to be the Celtics. So I am, playing right into your bit here. But I think Jason Tatum being this good right now is incredible. It's absolutely remarkable. They just wanted him to come in and just be productive. Last night he had, a triple-double with, I think, 18 or 19 rebounds. And he had the triple-double locked in very early in the fourth quarter and played great. I mean, he has been unbelievable. He looks just like Jason Tatum. Again, minus, you can tell he's still building up his conditioning fully to where it needs to be. But him being that good just takes the team to a completely different level. I thought they were going to be a really tough out in the playoffs anyway. Now I think they're there. The Pistons, they haven't been there, done that. And Cade Cunningham, basically, they just said it'll be reevaluated in a week. That is, maybe we get a game or two in before the playoffs. But we may not see him now until the postseason, and who knows, what he's going to look like. The Knicks are still really up and down. They look really good at times. They really struggle. Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns aren't, good defenders. It's really tough for the Knicks. Get a lot of headway. The Cavs can't put it together consistently night after night. It's, it'll be a really good couple of games, and then they kind of fall apart for a couple games. And then everybody else, there's just a pretty big talent gap there. So I do think it's healthy. I think Boston has a really good chance because I think they also have these teams. They have easily the best mix of offense and defense.
And just imagine him, say, May 20th, when the conditioning's a little better, and he can work on it because you're going to have days, not off, but not games like right now, and he can dedicate it a little more to conditioning. I mean, you could see peak Jason Tatum in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I mean, I am having to daily by the game reframe my expectations for what Jason Tatum's going to be because it just, one, it was like, all right, he is going to, once I came to, he's going to play this year, at least try, then it was, all right, just be better than whoever's been the 9th or 10th man in the rotation all year. That's all the team really needs you to be. Then it was pretty quickly, it's like, all right, Jason Tatum looks pretty good. And now over the last week or so, it is really, he had a pretty big high-scoring game the other night. Like I said, last night went out and got a triple-double very quickly. And that's really what the Celtics, when they were missing things, they were missing 2 things. On offense, they were missing somebody who could just make the game easier for other guys. A lot fell on Jaylen Brown. And you were asking Derek White and Peyton Pritchard to play one rung up from where they ideally should be as far as offensive players. Now with Tatum back and doing his things, everything slots in, and game gets easier for everybody else. And on the defensive end, he is such a good rebounder. I mean, he really is an elite rebounder for a non-big man. And I've said for years, it's only a matter of time before he's a 10 rebounds per game guy. And I think now we're there that he's going to be that. And that allows then Neemias Queta to do a little bit more. All right, I can go after this block shot. But I can't just rely on contest, turn, block out, rebound. Because I can have faith Jason Tatum's going to take care of the glass, and that's going to lift the defense to a different place.
Over in the Western Conference, obviously everybody talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, but this San Antonio Spurs team, they've won 10 straight. They have been on fire last night in the nationally televised game against Golden State. They looked really good against a Golden State team that just doesn't have enough bodies out there. But watching that game last night, obviously Wemby was awesome, but the thing that jumped out to me, late in the game, I think there was about 2 minutes or so left in the game, and I mean, they're up 20 or so points, game's over, and Carter Bryant, the rookie, is out there on the court for San Antonio. He gives up a wide open three to Golden State. Mitch Johnson immediately calls a timeout, goes out on the court, and is just letting Carter Bryant have it, explaining, you got to be here, you got to be doing this. I mean, legitimately coaching him on the court. What have you made of the job that Mitch Johnson has done this season with San Antonio? Obviously, a lot of talent on this roster, but just as a head coach, what have you made of Mitch Johnson?
He's in the impossible situation, right, of, hey, just go and replace Greg Popovich.
Right.
Maybe the best coach we've ever had in the game. Good luck to you, right? Like, it's almost anything is not going to be good enough, and yet somehow he's been good enough. And I think part of it is not that he's playing Pop or trying to be Pop, but it is, this is the Spurs, these are our expectations. Doesn't matter if we're up. You do things the right way. We play basketball the right way here, and I love that. And I know the exact moment you're talking about where he let Carter Bryant have it. And you know what? Carter Bryant is going to be better for that because it's going to be, hey, you don't get to back off just because we're up late in the game. You have to play right. And because you back off this time, what happens when you do it next time when we're not up this big? Then it's a problem. If you never do it, it's never a problem. And that's where, I think he's done an incredible job in a tough spot, right? You're working in Wembanyama coming back after missing last year's, by end of last year with the blood clotting issue. Then you're getting him in the fold, and then you're working on, all right, now we got to, figure out how we're going to orient this team around this once-in-a-lifetime kind of guy. Well, also still, I've got these three guards in Castle, Fox, and Harper, who are all really, really good, and, they're all guys who are used to having the ball their entire lives. And then, oh, by the way, Devin Vassell is a 20-point-per-game scorer. Keldon Johnson is a guy who was a starter his whole career. He's got him to accept the bench role. Harrison Barnes, midway through the season, it was like, hey, we think it would be best if you actually came off the bench. Harrison Barnes was like, let's do it, let's go. And, I mean, that stuff gets missed a little bit, but that's all such important stuff to putting this team together, and that's why they're second in the West. And Wemby's comments about, hey, why not us? Why can't we win a championship and experience all that stuff? And he basically, made it known how he feels. That doesn't matter. We don't care about that. We're going out there trying to win a title. I think that's a great mindset.
Yeah. Did you ever think he would have this? And I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's been abrasive. That he would be this edgy?
No, not this early, at least in his career. But I think he is. I think there was him coming in. There was a lot of he's too tall to be good, which now just sounds stupid, right? Like it's just. I mean, I get what people meant about it, but like it just sounds silly. But now I think you had some of that. There were people who were, well, he's a soft Euro, so he's never gonna figure it out. When a lot of Euros haven't been soft for any number of years now. That's an old stereotype that won't go away.
He's not Tony Kukoc.
Yeah, exactly. Then it was, he's not going to be Tim Duncan, and that. Okay, well, all right, very few people are going to be Tim Duncan. Then it was, well, Chet Holmgren's just as good, and clearly those two guys don't like each other, and there's a lot going on there that some people have suggested has gone back to the youth level between those two guys. So yeah, I mean, and then I think now it's your team can't win because you haven't been there, and you can't win awards because you're still too young. I think he's basically saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to turn this entire thing upside down and on its head anyway. let's just start right now today, and I'll start with challenging every narrative you throw out there.
Keith, I believe I asked you this question last week. If not, then I'm asking it right now, and hopefully I ask it every week until the end of the season. What's going on with the Orlando Magic?
Oh, goodness. I mean, nothing good. I mean, they got a win the other night that they really needed, but that was sandwiched around a 52-point loss where the coach and all the players were like, yeah, we weren't ready to play, which is not good. And then last night against Atlanta, a team there, theoretically battling for postseason seeding, they lost to Atlanta and get drilled at home in Orlando. It's an absolute mess. Now, they do have Franz Wagner back, which should, if he is healthy and able to stay on the floor, that should, help them. But, I mean, they are in, really rough shape. And, the buzz here is the fans are just done with Jamal Mosley. They're ready for a new voice, a new coach. And we may see one of those, last week of the season coaching changes come up here if it gets loud enough, because they're going to be in at least the play-in tournament. But the Magic, if they're in that 9-10 playing game with how poorly their offense can just go missing at times, it is going to be like a nightmare scenario for fans who they were dreaming of. Why can't we be the team that makes this? Why can't we be Indiana and make the unexpected finals run? We have Desmond Bain, we have all the other guys, and their season may be over before the playoffs even start, which would be the absolute nightmare scenario, and that's going to probably spark coaching changes, and I'm not entirely sure that the front office is fully safe here in Orlando either.
Yeah, that last night in the post-game press conference looked like a coach that may know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think Jamal Mosley kind of knows, where it's going. I mean, and you saw him, he's done all the right things as a coach of, hey, I'm taking ownership for all this stuff, but at some point everybody's like, great, you own it, fix it. You own that part of it too. And I don't think he's the guy to fix it. And even if he, walked in there with, hey, I have, the plan delivered from the basketball gods themselves to fix it, I don't know that the players would believe it at this point. I think they're out on him. I think he's out on them, and I think everything's gone as sideways as it can go here for this Magic team.
Do you think Billy Donovan will take the North Carolina job?
I think there's a chance. I think every day that goes by that job doesn't get filled is a day we're closer to the end of the Bulls season and Billy Donovan being able to walk away. I do think he's done in Chicago. I think, he went to the Bulls with the idea of, all right, we're bringing in these guys. And we got to remember they were pretty good, for a little bit there when they were healthy with DeRozan and Levine and Lonzo Ball. It was going pretty well. Then they had a bunch of injuries, and it all fell apart. Now I think Billy Donovan, with some of the advent of, hey, I can go to North Carolina. I'm Billy Donovan. North Carolina, if they don't have the biggest NIL endowment, it's probably way, way up there for men's basketball. I'll get, basically any recruit I want. Maybe that's a better spot for me to close this out than trying to catch on with another NBA team.
Well, it's going to be fun to see what happens over these next couple of weeks as we wind down the regular season. But, Keith, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy this weekend. We'll talk to you again next Thursday.
Hey, you guys at the point where you go to a Grizzlies game, do you bring your sneakers just in case they need you to jump in?
Always.
I had them with me Monday night against Phoenix, and I'll have them tomorrow night against Toronto.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, boy, I don't know what's going on, but they have to hold the all-time record for players on hardship 10 days. But better days ahead, right? That's all we can hope.
That's the hope.
Keith, the other night had a 5 out there. I promise you the numbering looked like an offensive line. 77, 72, 55. I mean, it was 2 guards, 2 tackles in the center.
Yeah, if that's your last preseason game, you're like, all right, cool, let these guys get some run. When that's happened in April, that means everything has gone sideways for you.
Yeah.
That's right. Thanks, Keith.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So you got Keith Smith with us talking NBA. Brian, a friend of mine said he went to the worst Cardinal weekend ever, late in the year, not a great year. And he said that weekend, I think it was against the Reds, and they lost to a pitcher wearing 61, 68, and 71.
Love that. I mean, that is That's something. Look, in any sport, you don't want to see those high
odd numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the now football, like you said, offensive line. They do their job. They're great at it.
Don't we have an 88 with the Grizzlies?
Might
right now.
You might have one. Yeah, might have one. There's the numbers are.
We got a tight end.
Are kind of wild. You look at the roster right now.
We got a jumbo package on the line of scrimmage.
Oh yeah, you absolutely do. 72, 67, 77. Obviously 45 with Gigi, which is a little bit of an odd number, and 55 with the new Lucas Williamson. So there's some odd numbers out there for sure.
Yeah, that's offensive line stuff, isn't it?
It really is.
Yesterday,
just the guys on the current roster. So there are other guys that have had 10 days that have had odd numbers as well. They just aren't on the roster right now.
And we know the great organizations, and I have said before, I wish the Grizzlies don't aim for being Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Don't aim for being San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Don't aim, but you can be Miami.
Sure.
And I was talking yesterday about there's a heat culture. And I said I didn't know what I really thought about this team. I learned it last night.
Yeah.
I don't think much of it.
That was rough last night against Boston. And hey, Boston is I think very clearly the one of, if not the best teams in the East right now. And they certainly looked like it last night, but they also made Miami look like one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. So not great for them.
Keith was telling me earlier today, I asked him where he lives, and it's not very far from Cape Kennedy. Did he see the Artemis take off?
Mm-hmm.
He said because it was overcast, he said could hear it.
Wow. Interesting.
Imagine so.
I would say so.
Vault you into space, you probably can't hear it a long way away.
So. I saw a video. I watched a lot of you asked me yesterday before we got off air if I was paying attention to it. I am too, and Melinda, my girlfriend,
and I can't work a protractor.
No, I can't either. And Melinda, my girlfriend, she was super into it last night. She wanted to watch videos. And some of those videos that I was watching, like I did not understand a single word they were saying, but I was like, it's cool, it's space and rockets and different things like that.
Can you imagine how smart those people are?
I mean, it really is incredible stuff. But I saw a video. One of the colleges down there had a softball game, and they had to stop the game because everybody was just drawn into the rocket launch. Everyone stopped and watched it.
Like it was an eclipse.
Exactly. It was a crazy scene. It was good stuff.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by the #1 Ford dealership in the Mid-South, and they wish everybody out there happy Passover tonight with Maundy Thursday, and tomorrow with Good Friday, and on Sunday, Easter Sunday. Everybody enjoy with your time and your fellow faith followers. Landers Ford, your trusted destination for a vehicle that fits any lifestyle with that seamless shopping experience, from vehicle choice to financing and service, from the Ford Escape to the rugged F-150 to the Bronco. Every vehicle built with those very high Ford tough standards. Ford F-150, America's best-selling truck. SUVs like the Ford Escape, the Ford Bronco, the Ford Expedition, the Ford Explorer, something for right now in the future like the EVs and the hybrids. It's going to go that way. They have them. Transparency, professionalism, and long-term support at Landers Ford. That's what you get. You need something done service-wise like oil changes, tires rotated, go online. Schedule when it suits you the best. They'll come get it. They'll take care of it. It'll be done quickly to meet your busy, hectic schedule. They know that at Landers Ford. Active in our community in Collierville at 2082 West Poplar Avenue, or online at LandersFordMemphis.com. If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Well, we need to get to another break. When we return, we need to talk some Major League Baseball. Only 3 games on the schedule today. One already in progress. The other 2 later tonight. That one game already final with the Twins getting a win over the Royals. But we'll talk about what happened last night. Also, big news as a top prospect being called up and will make his debut this week. And so a lot of baseball talk that comes your way next on Sports Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Cleanliness is next to impossible unless you call Hilo Commercial Services. For 15 years, Hilo's dedicated team has been cleaning offices throughout the Mid-South. Hilo's janitorial services are customized to your business. Clean once, quarterly, or ongoing, and get the JRD guarantee. We clean until you're satisfied. Hilo Commercial Services, the biggest and the best in the Mid-South. Visit MrCleanTeam.com. That's MrCleanTeam, MrCleanTeam.com for Hilo Commercial Services.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Memphis Public Golf has so much going on right now. Do you know that golf is up 11% at all the public golf courses? Do you know the driving range at Audubon is so popular they do about 100 driving range balls per day, 100 buckets? Wow. It's just happening. That's the way public golf is right now. There is going to be a new tournament April the 18th at Pine Hill, which is really different. 18 holes, but 3 different 6-hole formats. Scramble, alternate shot, and aggregate. That means both scores count. That's a brand new wrinkle. And if you just want to book a tee time, or if you want to find out more about all the great tournaments, because you know every course has a championship, there's the Memphis Public Links. All you got to do is go to MemphisPublicLinks.com. That's MemphisPublicLinks.com. They say better play every day on Memphis Public Links, and with the way they have improved the golf courses, that is absolutely on the money.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With over 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
This traffic report is brought to you by Millington Weight Loss. For more information, call 901-436-0272.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, T-Dot. Those help trucks around here assisting with a couple of disabled vehicles. It is heavy now, but at volume 240 East, coming past Mill Branch, all that traffic headed out towards Bill Morris Parkway. Also, you'll find yourself in a crowd here in the next few minutes on 40 going east, anywhere from Sycamore View Road, passing Germantown Parkway, pushing on out towards the Fayette County area. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. Bring it to the transmission experts. If you're having transmission problems, that would be Amco Transmissions with 2 area locations here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we got to talk some Major League Baseball. It's a really slow day around Major League Baseball today. Supposed to be 4 games, but only 3 games. Blue Jays and White Sox were set to play today, but due to weather, that game has been postponed. It will be made up tomorrow afternoon. 1 game already final. The Twins, a 5-1 winner over the Royals. So that means only 2 games remaining on the day. The Braves there in Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. That game at 8:40 later tonight. And then the Mets in San Francisco to play the Giants. That one at 8:45. So 2 late games tonight around Major League Baseball in a very slow day. That's because we have a ton of day action tomorrow afternoon with a lot of these teams set up for their home openers. And I think pretty much everybody tomorrow with their home opener. So going to be a big day around Major League Baseball tomorrow, but because of that travel, it means a slower day today.
Already grumbling in Boston before they've even had the home opener.
Yeah, it's been a rough start for them. 1-5. They'll have the Padres, another team that's kind of struggled out of
traditional
the game.
Fenway opener, isn't it? Red Sox and Padres.
It screams opening day for sure. But they just they have really struggled against Cincinnati, and then on the road against Houston. Just really haven't been able to put it together, and it seems a lot of issues there. But maybe get home and maybe things start to figure themselves out. They'll play the Cardinals in St. Louis next weekend, so the Cardinals will see them very soon. But a weird start for Boston this year.
Alex Cora said they're playing bad. It feels as bad as it looks, and doesn't feel like a lot of punch right now.
No, it doesn't. It just things aren't clicking right now, and it's I think the beauty of a Major League Baseball season is there are going to be times where things aren't clicking, where you're playing bad, but you've got so much time in that season to really turn things around. They didn't have a great start to the season last year, and then really rallied late. So maybe you see something similar this year, but not the start they wanted. But like I said, this Padres team hasn't been great either to start the season. So maybe this is exactly what they need to see a San Diego team at home. Maybe they can turn things around before seeing Milwaukee and then St. Louis.
Are you ready for the rookie Connor Griffin debut in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Tomorrow.
He's a good player.
Will that be at home?
That's a home game tomorrow. So that will be a lot of fun to see him. He's a guy
19.
that very young and has had a lot of talk around him for a while now. And people thought could he make the opening day roster?
From Jackson, played at Jackson Prep.
Is that right? Wow, I didn't know that. But got the news early this morning that they were going to call him up, and then just a couple hours ago, news on an extension for him. So a big contract coming his way, and opening day tomorrow against the Orioles. Yeah, they'll be a lot.
He's already gotten a contract extension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's got the big deal that was already that was put out earlier.
He's 0 for 0.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with Colt Emerson. What was that, 2 days ago with the Mariners?
Yeah, well, that's
he got
right.
the big deal. A lot of these and I was listening to an interview. I think it was with Jeff Passan yesterday, saying that because of the impending lockout and kind of the unknown of the future around Major League Baseball and money, a lot of these teams, they see their top prospects and they're trying to go ahead and get these deals on the books so that in case anything changes, they've already got something some sort of contract lined up for these guys. So I think you're going to probably see a little bit more of this, but 2 of the top 10 prospects already getting really big long-term deals with their teams.
He's 19 years, 344 days, so 21 days shy of his 20th birthday.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What were you doing 21 days shy of your 20th birthday? You recall?
Oh man, I probably not much.
I had to make sure, but I knew it was close. For me, 21 days prior to my 20th birthday.
Yeah.
Game 2 of the '82 World Series between the Cardinals and the Brewers.
Okay. But you were in the stands. You weren't on the. I
wasn't even in the stands. I didn't make that World Series. No.
But it's crazy to
academics
see.
First, Western Civ test.
That's
that
right.
week.
Oh yeah, no, that's
my dad said bad idea. You're saying right there in Fayetteville.
Yeah, no, well that's smart. But it's insane to see how young.
Boy, Western Civ test really took me a long way.
Oh man, yeah, no, you needed that. You definitely had to be there for that. So that'll be fun.
I played by his rules then.
No, hey, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. But he's been really good. This year already seeing some time at AAA, batting .438. So it will be cool to anytime you see these young guys get called up and make their debuts. It's really cool to watch.
Pittsburgh AAA team where?
It is in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
The Indianapolis Indians AAA team.
I needed some help with that. How about this note? Memphian, the great Memphian, the late great Tim McCarver. And it was part of his contract that he signed in Will Carruthers' apartment in downtown on Poplar or on Union. Kimbrough Towers Poplar. It's on Union. And part of the deal was they had to bring him up late in the year as a 17-year-old and 329 days.
That's crazy. That's insane.
He played in the show as a 17-year-old.
Wow. That is
But that was part of the deal, and they brought him up for just a few games, even at 18 and 19. He was the regular catcher at 21, 22.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. that is really, really wild to even hear that story. And so, yeah, not that young, but it's still a pretty young guy.
Will Carruthers was a baseball writer at the Commercial Appeal, but was nationally known and would cover games nationally. Everybody in the sport knew who he was.
Really?
And was tight with the McCarver family. And you know where Kimbrough Towers, where it is on. Everybody
definitely.
does.
Absolutely.
And that's where he lived, and that's where Tim McCarver signed.
Yeah, no.
It was either that or go to Oklahoma and play football for Bud Wilkinson.
Wow, interesting. So yeah, no, that's crazy. That young to be up in the show, but no, that'll be fun tomorrow to see him get out there. But you talk about teams struggling around Major League Baseball. Another team that's struggling, and I know a lot of people in this area keeping an eye on them, is San Francisco Giants team. I mentioned they're in action tonight against the Mets. Hadn't been the easiest schedule to start the season. I mean, you got to open with the Yankees and then turn around on the road against the Padres and back at home tonight.
They haven't won at home at Oracle.
No, they have. Which I mean, I can't really blame them for that when you've played the Yankees and the Yankees look awesome to start the season, but.
Giants are really starting over.
They are, but man,
how much patience for Tony V?
That's the thing.
And potentially these great SEC jobs opening.
Yeah. It's just it seems like a big difference in Major League Baseball to college baseball, and I don't know if he's cut out for it. I
still count it as a correct prediction.
I know. I think you are.
I said St. Louis though,
but I think you're.
I was
definitely playing.
I was ahead of the time though.
Yes, but I might be glad that it's not the Cardinals because I don't know if I see this working out for Tony Vitello. It might.
I kind of feel the same way.
I hope it does, but man,
he's going to explode.
Oh, he is, and I think you've already seen it a little bit. I mean, he was hot after the first 2 games of the season. Way too long of a season, Major League Baseball, to be freaking out 2 games into the year.
All right, we started with Arkansas and Ole Miss fans both are grumbling a lot over Dave Van Horn and Mike Bianco.
Yeah.
I think it's misguided, but I respect anybody that would disagree because fans paying big money, they all want it right now. Mike Bianco did deliver. It's different than a direct comparison to Dave Van Horn, but Dave Van Horn having been there and continuing the Norm DeBryan legacy is the reason why I think it's pretty apt. But those two continue to struggle the rest of spring and whatever happens in Hoover and whatever happens or doesn't happen in NCAA tournament and College World Series. At the same time, the Giants are 15 and 30, 15 and 35.
Sure. I mean,
he has to listen to.
Absolutely.
Both of those places could bring him in. Certainly college basketball money, but approaching football money.
Yeah, no, I mean it.
4, 5, 6 million.
Yeah, and we know he is a great college baseball coach. So I mean, yeah, things aren't working out at the pro level now. It feels like a quick turnaround. At least seeing how he operates and
let's give
kind
it
of how
June.
he acts. Well, I'm just saying I feel like he wouldn't do that. I feel like he's would be bought in too much on being a major league man. Because I mean, if you leave even after 1 season, I mean everyone's gonna say, well, you weren't cut out. You couldn't handle Major League Baseball. And I don't see Vitello being the guy that would take too well to that. But I don't know.
It's happened to the football guys. Maybe certainly not that quickly, but
sure.
I'll bet you a couple of them. I don't know, but you would have to suspect early on Steve Spurrier thought, what in the world did I do?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And so, who knows how it works out, but I'm sure people will be watching tonight for the Giants as they'll take on the Mets. The other story, we talked yesterday about that walk-off win. Speaking of the Mets, the Mason Wynn walk-off, after that game, he was involved in a single-car accident. They blamed the wet pavement for that accident, but seems like he's all right. Seems like everything is fine
just
with
accident.
him.
No there. Nobody hurt.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Just a little bit of an accident, but definitely a weird story to see.
And this time of year, any kind of car accident with St. Louis, we all think about back to Josh Hancock.
Yeah.
And that was just so sad.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good to see that he's okay. And, I haven't seen anything about his availability for tomorrow. I would assume he's probably good to go after that seemed very minor.
Right, years later, after Josh Hancock's death, I'm going to say around, I think that was in 2007, I'm going to say around 2017, 18, a long time afterwards. I'm at a golf place playing, and a person introduced me to a man and said, "Oh, this is a gigantic Cardinal fan." Guy was really nice, didn't say it first. I mean, we kind of warmed up, and a little while later he goes, "You remember my son with the Cardinals?" And I realized his last name. I said, "Yeah, I do," and it's still awful.
No, yeah, that is that's really, really rough, and wow, I mean it's a good story.
But the dad, he said, "I'm glad you remember."
Yeah,
so
that's good.
I said, "I'm glad I can," and could, and just still heartbroken.
Yeah, no, really, really sad stuff there. But we'll see what it looks like tomorrow for Major League Baseball, as it does look like it's going to be a busy, eventful day. Again, home openers at a lot of places. So, I mean, we've got baseball starting tomorrow around noon. First game, Dodgers and Nationals starting at 12:05, and then after that, pretty much have baseball the rest of the day. So, will be a lot of fun with a lot of day action. But let's go ahead, get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
It's your favorite Sports 56 show? No! Check out the podcast, broken down hourly at sports56whbq.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss any Sports 56 show again with our podcasts available daily from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Come on and let the good times roll, y'all. Or as we say in Louisiana, laissez le bon temps rouler. The Orleans in the Ville with our made-from-scratch red beans, jambalaya, gumbo, po' boys, and made-fresh daily muffaladas, right here in Collierville. Eat, drink, and stay for dessert like our homemade bread pudding with warm bourbon sauce. Monday through Friday, meat and two with homemade veggies, so good you'll bring your mom and them. Brunch every Saturday and Sunday. Right here, the Orleans in the Ville, 336 New Byhalia Road. Where great food, live music, and endless fun meet.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spensdorf Realtors. I'm often called Shell Done because I sell homes and work with buyers and I get the job done. There are 7 keys to successfully selling your home quickly at a great price. First, call me. I do my research and advise you on preparation, presentation, and proper pricing that gets you the activity to get the best price. Follow my advice and it can happen. I did mention 7 keys to a successful sale, didn't I? Well, if you use the first key, calling or emailing me, you really don't need the next 6 keys. Remember, that's Sheldon Rosengarten at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. If you don't need me now, write it down for later or for a friend. That's Sheldon at 483-0546 at MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now, and who knows, you may hear your home advertised here. Remember, as bad a golfer as I am, when selling homes, Sheldon gets it done.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the 4 walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
When you hear the sound of coming, hear the drums drumming.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brown. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
What up, big guy? I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, my big number today, it comes from the NBA, and it is the number 2. Oklahoma City is on pace to be the second team since the NBA-ABA merger in the 1976-77 season.
That's a Tyler Hero type
well,
call.
That really is. They would be the second team to have 60 or more wins and lead the NBA in average turnover margin in consecutive seasons. The only other team to do that was the Chicago Bulls from 1990-91 to 1991-92 seasons, who won the NBA title in both years. We'll see if Oklahoma City can do it again out of the West. But, man, what the Spurs team is doing, I hope. And usually I'm not one to hope for the 1 versus 2 in any sort of final, but I hope we get Spurs and OKC in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun in the East as well. And the rest of it will be interesting, but we get to that. That will be a lot of fun. Even, Brian, would you believe me? Now, I know you will be. I know you will because I promise you, I'm being honest. The ABA-NBA merger really should be. Anything before that really didn't happen.
Yeah, I think so.
In the ABA, first or second year at the Coliseum, I saw Larry Brown play.
Really?
For the Denver Americans. I saw Larry Brown play.
Cow. Wow.
He had real long hair, too.
Really?
Yeah, and was kind of a hot dog.
Interesting. That's insane. I can't. I don't even know how to respond to that. That's just that's insane.
And where my birthday is in the fall, another great family friend, his birthday kind of was October. That was often a Sunday afternoon birthday for one of us,
I like that.
or both,
Yeah.
trip
I like that.
to go to the ABA.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, my big number, it is 32. Next week at Augusta, we'll hear and see a lot of Jim Nantz. We used to see a lot of hear a lot of Jim Nantz at the Final Four. He did 32 Final Fours. That's the most. Ian Eagle will be doing his third. I think he has been very capable, and his chemistry with Bill Raftery is really good, and his one-liners really good. I love Ian Eagle. He'll be doing his third. Other announcers to do it: Kurt Gowdy did 9, Brent Musburger did 6, Dick Enberg 6 as well. Gary Bender did 3. That was right after CBS got the package. He did the first 3, 82, 83, 84. I said Kurt Gowdy with 9. But the first TV voice of the Final Four, old-timer, us old folks, will remember him as the sideline guy in college football and the host of the Sunday afternoon This Week in College Football show, Bill Fleming. He did the first 6 Final Four starting on TV for NBC in '63, and one of those years his analyst was Mr. College Football. Whoa, Nelly, Keith Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Bill Fleming, Keith Jackson doing the Final Four.
Wow.
The Final Four, the Tigers win. Kurt Gowdy was the play-by-play, and Tom Hawkins, who was a player for the Lakers, played at Notre Dame in college and was a local TV sports guy in Los Angeles, and would do a lot of UCLA games.
Interesting.
But he did the '73 finals with Kurt Gowdy.
Interesting. Well, Brett, we've talked a lot about the Final Four.
I just called out play-by-play guys. Analysts, a person asked me, what about Billy Packer? I didn't count up the analysts.
Oh, yeah, no, that'd be a lot more work. I can't.
Yeah, that'd be a lot more work. It's Thursday.
Exactly.
I'm already looking to the weekend.
I mean, hey, you're not the only one. No, we've talked a lot about the Final Four, but Brett, we have not talked about the Crown last night. Night 1 of the Crown.
We haven't talked about the Crown?
We haven't talked about the Crown. Brett, I watched
from... You think there's a reason for that, do you?
No, I don't, because, Brett, I made a promise to our great listeners I would have us covered.
You got us covered. Break it down.
And I watched from start to finish both games last night, and I plan to watch from start to finish FS1 last night and tonight. I plan to watch from start to finish tonight as well. Terrible basketball. I mean, some of the worst basketball I've seen in a while.
I'm serious. It's subject to dismissal from the league for OU playing in it.
It was awful. It was so bad. The first game, Oklahoma and who'd they play last night? I can't even remember now. Colorado. No defense being played.
Big 8 game.
It really was. No defense being played. At one point, the shots, I mean, it was like a 3-minute sequence where the shots that were being taken, where it was just mind-blowing. That game went to overtime. Oklahoma.
So you don't think they were scared of any having to watch the film and get in trouble?
No. I don't think there will be much film being watched from that game. Then the second game, Baylor, Minnesota. There was a point in the game, and I'm not making this up. Minnesota went 8+ minutes. It was somewhere in between 8 and 9 minutes. I don't know the exact second. Over 8 minutes without a made field goal. They had 2 points in that span. It was a pair of free throws that they made. When they snapped that streak, they only trailed by 5 points. 8 minutes without a field goal, and they still only trailed by 5 points.
Do we crown a crown champion tonight?
No. We're only in the quarterfinals, Brett. A lot of crown left to play.
Wow, we're young. Come on, crown.
Honestly, first off, they didn't start till last night. I don't know why we needed 3 weeks till the end of the season to start the crown. But yeah, last night, the first night, Las Vegas, MGM.
You think there's any curfew?
Brett, I don't think there's any curfew, and I think tickets available. You could literally hear every conversation between players, everything the coaches were saying. I mean, there was nobody at those games last night. It was sad.
It's funny. Minnesota's in it. Back when I thought the NIT mattered, the 70s, Minnesota was often in the NIT.
I love that. Well, Brett, I mean, I think...
Because, the NCAA only had 32 teams, and only the Big Ten champion went.
Yeah, well...
They couldn't beat Indiana.
No. But, Brett, I do think if you watched The Crown last night, you would have a lot more respect for the NIT. I mean, it made the NIT look like the NBA Finals. I mean,
I won't. And had this conversation with a good friend... even the 70s didn't matter for the NIT. I'm going to say about 70 or 71, if it ever did.
Sure.
And I don't think it ever did now. I think a lot of people will say, and we know Tiger basketball, as we know it, kind of was born out of the 57 NIT run. But even then, you'd rather be Wilt Chamberlain, Kansas, and be in the Final Four.
No, you're absolutely right about that. There is
all those UCLA champions. Back then, it was just as important to win. Mm-hmm. You think Wooden really wanted to trade those?
No, not at all. Yeah, no. Trade with the NIT for sure. But I will say this, Brett. we're talking bad about the Crown. The Crown champion last year was Nebraska, and look what they did this season. So, I mean, we could be talking about...
Natural evolution.
I mean, you're talking about Memphis and their birth
Get
from
that
the
tournament
NIT.
confidence.
I mean, this could be... The Crown is the start of something extremely special when it comes to the following season. But we need to get to a break. Before we do that, let me remind you it's a perfect time. If you're looking for a place to go tonight into the weekend, watch all of the sports action, plenty to go around. Well, you need to head to Bell Tavern, located at 117 Barbaro Alley. Bell Tavern is the perfect bar for a night out with your friends or just a night out by yourself to catch a game or two. It's not one of those loud, rowdy, obnoxious sports bars that you hate. No, it's the exact opposite. Enjoy a night at Bell Tavern with one of their great cocktails in their quiet, dimly lit bar. It's not just the drinks. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis. Pair one of their gourmet burgers with the coldest beer in the city for a perfect night out. For more information about our friends over at Bell Tavern, give them a call, 901-249-6580, or online, belltavern.com. Well, we need to get to another break. When we return, we only have about 30 minutes left in the show. Again, we're out early for Ole Miss baseball. We'll talk a lot of Tigers. Greg Gaskin, he joins us next.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at CodesDispensary.com. That's CodesDispensary.com.
It's time for the Ultimate Hot Wing Showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival, Saturday, April 18th at the Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy, along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll, all in support of the Ronald McDonald House at the St. Jude Walk. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com. Sponsored by RS Financial Group, ATC Fitness, Road Warrior Staffing, and Universal Access. This is your delicious chance to make a difference. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis has serious vans for serious work. At 4430 American Way, they are the Mid-South source for cargo, passenger, crew vans, and custom chassis. Need one or a full fleet? New or used? They've got it with fleet solutions and custom upfits. Certified techs keep you moving with fast maintenance, repairs, and a large parts inventory. Mercedes-Benz Van Center is your Sprinter Van headquarters, 901-237-9302 or sprintervans.com. Mercedes-Benz Van Center Memphis, part of the Tag Truck Center family, driven to keep you on the road.
Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening is coming to the Graceland Soundstage. Saturday, May 9th at 8 p.m. Jason's thunderous drumming recalls one of the greatest to ever sit behind the skins, his late father, John Bonham of Led Zeppelin. This is as close as you will ever get to letting the lead out live. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Get your tickets today at GracelandLive.com.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, there's some things about the Rendezvous I want to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet parking right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to-go orders. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. Brett, we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear, please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of their mother's maiden name, dial it now. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, T-Dot's out with a couple of accidents. It sure has gotten a lot heavier now. Right on schedule 240 coming past Mill Branch all the way out to 385 as you get on the Bill Morris Parkway. You're going to have a lot of company there in the next few minutes, guaranteed, as you come off that ramp from 240 on Bill Morris going all the way out towards Collierville. Be careful out through there. Some troopers are scattered down 385 a little bit earlier. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is leading the way the world understands, treats, and helps defeat childhood cancer. Log on right now, stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Memphis's original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you for our final segment. Again, we're out a little early today. Ole Miss baseball on the road against Florida. First pitch set for 5:30, so we'll get you out there for that first pitch for the road conference series for the Rebels. But right now, we need to talk some Tigers, and we do it at this time every Thursday afternoon with Greg Gaston.
From the Tigers sideline, it's Tigers Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 Mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter X at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us now like he does every Thursday. You can hear him every weekday morning from 7 to 10 with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to discuss, but let's start with the news earlier this afternoon. A general manager has been hired for the Tiger basketball program. Gabriel Harris will take over in the role. What did you make of that news earlier this afternoon?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Boy, oh boy, it's been fast and furious, hasn't it, the last week or so with Memphis basketball news, and that'll continue into next week when the portal opens. But, yeah, Gabriel Harris, I had heard that they were looking at possibly a G League guy. I had no idea which G League guy that was. I know they looked at some NBA personnel as well, and this is a guy, obviously, they're very high on. He has that experience of being in the G League, running the show with the Stockton team, the Kings affiliate in the G League, and has some other interesting backgrounds, including his work really with the Yeezy brand and some of the I guess the players that represent that particular company he was with in marketing and things of that nature. But they're really high on him. They like him. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I really know a lot about him. He's young. He's energetic. He seems to be gung-ho about the job. So good for him. It's a kind of a guy that I would certainly be looking at. I would love to have a guy with a little bit more international experience. I'm not sure how much he has, but I'm sure he's dealt with some of those players in the G League with that Stockton team. He's young, so certainly can relate to the young players out there. And I like the fact that he has that professional experience to go along with knowing really the college game. So I like it. Again, I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to reserve judgment for what happens in the next couple of years. The only thing I could say is that he's still with the Stockton team and will be with them until they're done their run in the G League playoffs. And I think they won it all last year. So it may be a while before he's there in Memphis, which means that a good portion of the roster could be already determined before he steps foot in Memphis.
Yeah, but I think he will have a lot of consultation and should. But the buck stops with Coach Penny Hardaway.
He's still the final, he's still the final decision maker. And you're right. While he's doing his work with the Kings, he's not the head coach, so he's not working about putting up game schemes for each of the playoff games. So he can do some work there while also doing his regular job until he comes here. That's a good point, Brett. But, yeah, it's going to be Penny's decision in the end. The question is, and it's the question we've been asking for a number of years now, is how much input will Penny take from assistants and now a general manager, and then let that marinate before he makes the final decision, or will he back off of every suggestion? I think he's probably turned a page in his book and will really listen, and he better listen because, again, that's why they're going to pay this guy pretty good money to come in and put personnel together. So I think Penny, while he makes the final decision, will have to really open up his broad horizons here to listen to these guys and what they have to say.
Yeah, no, I like what you said about kind of what he's done, obviously, with his work with Adidas and the Yeezy brand, but then also with Stockton. We were talking about it earlier. I like the idea of a guy that's been a general manager at the G League. I mean, we know here with the Memphis Hustle, I mean, that roster changes year after year. It's pretty different, and you're having to go out there and kind of look around all of college basketball and even some international guys, different things to go and try to find people. It feels like this is a guy that can come in and really know how to approach this new landscape of college basketball where guys are really only on a 1-year contract.
Exactly. They've only been working for the last few weeks, I believe, on this position. Maybe it went back farther, but this was all before the decision to retain Penny and to fire his staff. So I can't imagine that looking for this GM, even if Dr. Ed Scott had known for months that was the direction they really needed to go in, and maybe even Penny. But I would think that it wasn't that long. So to be able to find a guy who has vast experience, even though he's still very young, experience with players and personnel, because you got to also remember, it would be nice to pluck a sitting general manager from an NBA team. They're not coming. They're not coming to, if they're coming to college, they're going to a big-time program for big-time money. And then where else are you going to turn? You're going to turn to somebody in the AAU, EYBL, or you're going to turn to somebody in high school, junior college. I think it will answer a lot of questions, because this is a guy who's been around a lot of different players and has seen a lot of different players at all different levels. So he's got that broad horizon, like I said, to look at. Because what it was like telling you guys just a couple of weeks ago, if I was the decision maker, I'd absolutely get somebody who can look at the total picture. International players, obviously players from around the country to get ready for the portal, to players in high school, to players at the junior college level. You got to be ready to work your tail off, and it seems like this guy, again, on paper, it looks like he fits the mold perfectly.
And Greg, this resume, I don't know if I've ever seen Stanford and MIT on any sports resume.
That's true. Guy sounds like he's brilliant, but yeah, we know that our buddy Brevin Knight went to Stanford and played basketball there, but yeah, to have the combination of Stanford and MIT is pretty impressive.
And Brevin will tell you, there's no cutting any corners at Stanford. It's real academics, real focus, real major degree plan that you have to put the work in.
No question about that. I've heard that many times from other people that either went to Stanford or knew people that went to Stanford, and he's going to have that ultra intelligence coming into this job.
He is. We wish him well. Brian and I were discussing earlier. I said I kind of wanted a little more maybe of a college background, but we started talking about how you divvy up the players. But Brian made the great point at the G League level. Except for those players with the two ways, you kind of got to build a team on the fly, and you're in charge of whatever you're going to eat. You got to go out and kill it. You got to land it, and that's not unlike what Penny Hardaway is going to do. If he got the 2 or 3 big names and then had Gabriel Harris fill in the rest of the roster, then I think that Brian made the case that's like at the G League level, and I agree with that.
I completely agree with that. I was saying several weeks ago when we were talking about this on mornings, on Sports 56 mornings, that to me, the rest of the squad, whether he was able to keep all 8 of those guys, and we know that he hasn't been able to, and I don't know, quite frankly, down inside he really wanted to, but he offered and did the right thing for these guys, and they had the chance to accept or not. But the point is, I was saying that these guys are, other than maybe Thetford, somewhat in the rotation, we'll see if Bradshaw stays, the rest of the guys are going to be new. Your high-dollared, high-salary guys. Penny's got a grip on who he wants. Obviously, it backfired last year because they wasted so much time waiting for Haggerty and waiting for that Dane Danger waiver. But then the rest of those spots, certainly, you have a guy who has to look at personnel. He has to know what's out there in college, because as soon as those guys turn pro or they exhaust their eligibility, like you said, you're trying to fill a roster at the G League, which is changing almost game by game. It's always evolving. So okay, you have to have a grasp.
I don't know what I was more amazed by, and I know it's the times that Julius Thetford has an agent, or that this morning y'all were trying to get me to be the runner for BC. What are y'all going to change my name to? Pooh-Statsy?
Wow, what a great reference.
Remember
from you,
who
Brett.
started that, Brett. Remember who started that. I'm laughing the whole time thinking, oh, my gosh. Yeah, Brett the Mule.
What role am I going to play? I heard y'all invoke Little Daryl.
Yeah, how about little Daryl? Little Daryl's no snitch, is he, man? That's the way he could have went. Ain't got no snitch. But, hey, when you're driving
that would be
at 100 miles an hour.
A good hip-hop name for me, Pooh-Statsy, wouldn't it?
I love it.
Oh, that's funny. But if you're driving 100 miles an hour and trying to evade the cops, it's not going to turn out good.
I don't drive that fast. I don't trust myself. I don't like that fast driving. I'm the guy in the left lane going 60 with the left blinker on.
You went from something, Brett, to clean Gene. You're now clean Gene, but you went from something else. You've evolved over your life.
That's exactly
Love
right.
it.
Greg, we're talking about the general manager. What did you make of the other hires? We got the news on Saturday. It started being reported Tony Madlock would rejoin the staff, and then on Monday, the news of Sean Mock and Trevor DeLoach.
Yeah, so Mock obviously has the background at Tulane as an assistant offensive guy, good recruiter. DeLoach has that recruiting background, and then he has the connections with Charlotte, and I think UTSA before that. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that, I think Mock was out of the job, and I'm not so sure about DeLoach. So to be honest with you, those two coaches, I don't know. I don't quite get it, to be honest with you. I'm glad that they're from the outside, but they're not from outside the conference. Now, is there a connection with who they recruited at their particular schools or helped recruit? And I don't know how much in depth DeLoach was with the 7'2" Bunk, the big center who we've heard maybe Memphis will go after, and of course down in New Orleans at Tulane with Brumball. I would have to think Mock was a big part of that. So I'm not sure if there's sort of a connection to that thing. We'll see what happens, what materializes when the portal officially opens on Tuesday. But again, I'm not wowed by those guys. Tony Madlock is great. Tony Madlock is a great guy. I think he's a really good coach. He went out there, and I thought he did a very nice job. And you guys know how restricted you are in the smaller conferences, SWAC, and the HBCUs. They don't have that money to throw around, and he's out there, and he's getting some quality players. I thought he did a good job when he went from South Carolina State, got his toes wet there, went to Alabama State, got him to the NCAA tournament. I think he's a quality person. Obviously, he'll work hand in hand with Penny. He was on the staff when Penny first got the job. Again, I go back to, Tony I don't think would back down. Tony would say, Penny, we got to do this. I think you need to change that. I don't think there's any issues with Tony stepping up and telling his buddy what needs to be done. The question, again, goes back to, is Penny going to listen and do that? But I think Tony brings a wealth of experience to the job. I really, really like that. I don't have a problem with his lead assistant to be a guy he's very, very comfortable with, has the head coaching experience, and has the Memphis background. I certainly don't want to see three guys hired from Memphis, and Penny didn't do that. But these two guys that he hired, again, I don't know if they bring something to the table as far as players and what they bring to the table as far as coaching. Again, one's got a little bit more of an offensive strategy behind him, so hopefully he'll be asked to help Penny out on the offensive side. And DeLoach, I don't know a ton about him, but again, people spoke highly of both of them. I just think that you just don't know with these assistant coaches. I mean, how many has he gone through since he's been here? So you also got to take into consideration financially. You know, what's left in the coffers for the coaches, because I'm sure with the general manager, you had to pay that Harris pretty handsomely. You also probably had to pay Tony. Not that he was getting rich, I think, at Alabama State, but he was probably making a decent living, and he resigns from that job to take an assistant coach's job. So I would bet that he's making pretty good money. And then the other two, we'll see what's left in the coffers for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Last thing for you, Quante Berry, the latest entering the transfer portal, the news also of Curtis Givens. Your thoughts on those two guys? And I guess we haven't talked to you since Ashton Hardaway. So 3 guys, 4 total with a rope, but those 3 guys that got pretty decent minutes throughout the season. Your thoughts on those 3 guys portaling?
Well, you guys asked me several weeks ago when Penny decided that he was going to offer the 8 guys a chance to stay, probably at a I would guarantee at a reduced number. And I said that I would keep four. There's four guys I said I would keep. And one of them was Julius Thetford, and one of them was Curtis Givens. So Curtis Givens leaving, I don't think it's a surprise, to be honest with you. He was in and out of the lineup. Of course, he was in and out as far as injuries are concerned, too. I like him. I still think he has a really decent a decent chance to become a really good college player. It's not going to happen in Memphis. So that's one I would have kept. Quante Berry, I know he did well very, very late in the season, but he was so inconsistent and non-factor earlier. I don't mind. You should be able to upgrade in that position. Again, Ashton, that's twice he leaves his father. That's very, very interesting. Thought he did some good things before he got hurt at the end of the year. And the other guy I would like is Majok, and we'll see. So I wouldn't mind keeping the big guys, Bradshaw and Majok, certainly at a reduced number. But I don't know if keeping both those guys means that you don't go after the center you want, because we know those guys are supplementary players. They need a legitimate big who's physical and keeps people out of the paint. So I don't mind that. It's still 4 is the number, and if those two guys stay, it'll end up being 4. William Morton was one of the guys. Either way, no big deal. But he does remind me of a young DJ Steffens when he started, but I just don't know if he'll ever reach that level.
Yeah, well, we'll see when we get news on those two guys that have not made their decision, at least known publicly, because that transfer portal opens in just a couple days. But Greg, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again next Thursday.
Happy Easter, Greg, to you and Mary.
You too, guys. Happy Easter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg. Greg Gaston joining us to talk Tigers. He joins us every single Thursday afternoon to talk Tigers, and plenty to discuss right now with the offseason up and rolling for Tiger basketball. But again, we're out a little early this afternoon. Ole Miss baseball, they're in action against Florida. 5:30 first pitch. We'll get you over there in just a couple minutes. But before we get to Mo's Crunch Time, let me remind you that this hour is brought to you each and every afternoon by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out those brand new models like the Range Rover Sport, the Range Rover Velar, and the Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to JaguarBluffCity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's go ahead and get to an early Mo's Crunch Time.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This game has always been called the world's greatest cocktail party. Do you know what is going to happen here tonight?
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Crunch time between the hedges.
The ball game is over, and Memphis has its first win in 16 tries. Its first win ever against its fierce in-state rival Tennessee.
Goodbye!
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Mo's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Mo's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Mo's.com, it's your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, what I learned today, Brett, is that Elliot Cadeau has rejoined his team after having an allergic reaction yesterday. We talked about that video that was making its rounds of him being wheeled out on a stretcher into an ambulance and taken to the local hospital. He said today talking to the media that he just ate something he was allergic to, that he had a little bit of hives, and so went to the hospital just to prevent anything further from happening. But as we know, and we talked about it yesterday, the statement that was put out by the university, by the athletic department yesterday, was that he was fine and just went to the hospital for to be on the safe side. But good to see him back today, less than 24 hours after that happened, back with his team, and looks like he'll be fine for that Final Four game.
And his team is part of what I learned talking to our friend David Brandt from the Arizona point of view about that big game Saturday. It's building to a great one on Saturday. I hope 2 great ones, but Michigan and Arizona, like David said, they're on a collision course. It almost has to deliver. If either one wallops the other one, I'll be surprised if that happens. I think we will have a close game. UConn, Illini, that's not shabby.
No.
We've got a great Final Four on paper.
Yeah, it's going to be...
Play it out on the floor.
That's right. It's going to be an awesome Final Four. Really excited for both those games on Saturday. Well, what I could have done without a lot to really choose from, which is weird, but a lot
like
of
the
places,
Washington Wizards on April Fools?
Well, yeah, I completely missed that. I saw the videos afterwards, like late into the night last night. I completely missed it all when it's happening.
I thought he won 10 grand. He won nothing.
I'd be mad. I would be furious if that happened to me. But I'll go with the Brandon Clark story for what I could have done without. Yesterday when it came out, we didn't really have a lot of news. We got those charges kind of right before we went off the air, but now learning more and more news about that, the high-speed chase in Arkansas where speeds exceeded 100 miles per hour. Cross-County Sheriff David West told the Daily Memphian earlier today. So over 100 miles per hour, had more than 200 grams of kratom. I'm not familiar with what that is, but I read somewhere that it's legal here and not legal over there, so I don't know what was happening.
And that may be, sure. But illegal in both places is going 100.
No, exactly, and that's the biggest issue, because you've got this. I think a lot of people forget, what was it, over the summer in the off season when Zach Edey was going extremely way too fast. I think over 100 miles an hour up in Indiana when he was visiting Purdue. So I mean, just, Grizzlies, slow down a little bit. No need to go that fast, but Brandon Clark is out of jail, released on a $25,000 bond. So hopefully this doesn't become a common occurrence, and we'll see what his future is, because there was already question about his future because of the injuries and all that. But now what does this do for his future as a Grizzly?
Yeah, I could have done with some of the April Fool's jokes gone wrong. Be careful, people. And here's why I don't like them. It's all fun and games if you're not the butt of the joke.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not very much fun when you are. And I'm not a person. I got a sense of humor, don't I, Brian?
You do. You absolutely do.
I'm not a fuddy-duddy, am I?
No,
okay.
No, absolutely.
But I'm scared of that. That poor guy at the Wizards game.
Crazy.
That was bad, but also could have done without this. We went a long time in Memphis without major legal incident issues with the Grizzlies. A long time. And then we have Ja. Now in retirement, Tony. Now this with Brandon Clark. It just adds up to not a great look.
No, it definitely doesn't. And so, hopefully we don't see more of this, but definitely not the great headline yesterday, the game itself last night, and then obviously what we talked about earlier with the comments from LeBron James. It hadn't been a good season. Yeah, let's just wait there and start talking about the future. Where are you beaming tonight?
Mets at Giants at Oracle, and those great hats, and they're tied together. Really, at both they go back to the Polo Grounds. One a tribute to the other one, and both kind of in the same style from Willie Mays back in New York City. The Giants, they haven't won at Oracle, and they hadn't hit a lot for Tony Vitello.
No, they haven't. The bats have been ice cold in San Francisco. That'll be a fun one later tonight. And beam me to this doubleheader we have on Prime tonight. 2 really, really good games. The first one starts here in about 30 minutes. The Timberwolves on the road in Detroit against the Pistons. And then later tonight, about 8:30, the Lakers, who have been red hot on the road against a team that's been dominating all season long in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Both those games, I think, are going to be awesome tonight.
Over the next few days, we'll see the last time maybe for the tour to stop in San Antonio but because it's not going to stay the week before the Masters because the new refigure tournament. We're going to have open dates week before and week after majors.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really weird, so enjoy it while you can. You also got some college basketball action tonight, both NIT and the Crown tonight. I'll have us covered. Don't you worry about it.
Thank you, Brian.
I will cover it all. Only 2 Major League Baseball games tonight. Braves, Diamondbacks, Mets, and Giants. Both those games starting after 8 o'clock. Then we've got a bunch of NBA as well. But that's all the time we have this afternoon. Again, an early in for us as we're going to get you out to Ole Miss baseball. They're on the road starting a 3-game series tonight against the Florida Gators. First pitch at 5:30. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Napa Cafe celebrates 28 years in 2026.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experience.